Hey, hey. I'm gonna get it together. I'm sorry, y'all. Hey, hey, and welcome back to Love Restore. I am your favorite host, Marshaun Olaniyan. This is the Brownstone. So, welcome back. So, for the next 30 minutes, we will be discussing the impact that not loving yourself is having on your life. Now, before I jump into that, let me just talk about why I decided to start Love Restore. I decided to start Love Restore because, like many of you out there, I didn't get the tips, tools, and strategies within my own home to talk about loving yourself, owning who you are, knowing your worth, knowing that you are enough, and then those skills being able to translate over into the type of man that I date, the type of men that I attract, the type of man that I marry. Right. And so, because I went through so much, I literally bumped my head a time or 55, maybe even more, to really figure out the tips, tools, and strategies for others not to go down the same road that I did. I am a divorcee. And if I can help one, two, five, 10, 1,000 people not to experience divorce, then I have fulfilled the mission that God has put me on this planet to fulfill, specifically to and with the Black community. I love helping Black women specifically. However, I have coached beautiful Black men as well, and including but not limited to other ethnicities as well. But my core group of people that I specifically love to help are Black women, because we have gone through so much and we wear so many hats. And what I'm really trying to help them do is shift the way that their mindset is going around who they are, how they're showing up, as well as the life that they can actually co create. So I shift their mindset. The second shift that I make in their life is their viewpoint, their perspective, how they are viewing things, how they are viewing people, how they are viewing their relationship. So their perspective will change when they work with me. And the third thing is, again, how they are showing up in this world so they can create the life that they want to and feel like they deserve to be a part of. That is why I created Love Restore, because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of not finding platforms specifically for women that look like me to be able to come together, share exactly my experiences, share some theory, but mainly my experiences, as well as the clients that I am helping to overcome some of these things. With that being said, if you want to speak to me outside of Love Restore or want to contact me, then go to my website at www.marshauno.com, or you can send me an email, marshawn at marshaunolaniyan.com. So those are the two ways that you can reach out to me if you want to speak with me outside of Love Restore. So now, today, again, for the next 30 minutes, we will be speaking about the impact that not loving yourself is having on your life. Let's go ahead and jump into it, because I know it's very important, and it is something that I think is I think it is that important that we must take the time to really break down what this looks like and how this affects our life. Many people have masks on, or they are showing their representative, which is also a mask, or the facade that they have created for others to see, for them to feel like they are living life better than they actually are. And here's the thing, they may physically be living a better life, like their body might be on point. They may be living the life, as in the materialistic things like the house and the car, maybe the family, that stuff, right? However, what I'm finding when I'm coaching, the inner is all jacked up. So, what I'm going to be specifically speaking about today happens to do with the inner, your inner world, not the outer. It's impacting your life. You not loving yourself is impacting your life, your internal life. So, of course, I always have some points to go through. Today is no different. So, let's start with the first one. The first one is, we have a tendency to always put others first when we don't love ourselves. Now, what does that actually look like? This is where you are literally not going to ever reach your potential. You know how they have the hierarchy of needs? And so at the very foundation is the basic needs. And as it goes up, each step gets um, less and less need, is more becomes a want and or a desire. But you'll never be able to reach that peak if you're always putting others before you. Now, that's not to say that you can't be empathic, excuse me, and or kind to other people. No, but when it feels like you need, like I have to give my last dollar, but then that means that you are taking away from you. Like you're giving your last dollar to somebody, to something, but your needs are not fulfilled, then you are literally destroying yourself. Where there is a tug at your heart, where again you feel that you need to do these things, and a lot of this is coming from you wanting to be accepted by other people, but it's also draining you. It's also draining your life, and this is where some of your frustration and resentment is coming from, all because you have that need to always put others before you, which is actually hindering you and killing you, really. It's slowly killing you because outwardly, the world sees this beautiful smile, beautiful skin, the clothes on point. They may even come to your house or home. Everything's clean, everything is in its place, the car on point, etc. But your inner world, you're dying inside. And you really wish the people around you could see the real you. But that comes from you showing up as the real you and not keeping on the mask, not letting them to only see your representative, not only allowing them to see the facade that you created. It's not to say that you can't have any of this stuff, but if it is overtaking and overshadowing your life, you're doing too much. So always putting people before your needs is going to cripple you in the long run. The second thing is you start to doubt yourself in what you want and or need. Now, you tend to lose your um, you tend to lose your sense of credibility, which flows into the form of your strengths, your talents, and your abilities, all that you already have within you. But because you start to doubt yourself and or believe the stuff that others have put on you, this is impacting your life. This is showing up as you not loving yourself because whatever the person or people are telling you, you are taking on and owning it as if it is your own, as if you started to tell yourself this stuff. So it's sort of like your critical inner voice. When you're a younger child and your parent or guardian happens to tell you something, whatever the thing is, let's go with their speaking negativity to you, right? Because that's what the voice is, it's negative. So maybe, for instance, your guardian or parent used to call you stupid all the time. Whether they meant it, whether they were just saying it for whatever reason, whatever, you internalized it. And because you heard it so much, you took it on, and now you're wearing this stupid armor and you're showing up in that way by the things that you're doing. And you're really doing those things because you want the attention, but you don't know how to articulate that. You don't feel love or didn't feel love, but you don't know how to articulate that. And so now, as adults, you're still wearing that stupid armor. And so anytime, even though you have some successes in life and you actually even have some examples and or certifications and or letters behind your name, you can't even own all of that stuff. You can't even own it because your critical inner voice still says that you are stupid, you make stupid decisions. How and why did you think that you can do X, Y, and Z? And it actually work out for you, even though you have evidence to say otherwise. You still believe it. So all of that stuff, you forget about all of your talents, your strengths, your abilities. You just start to focus on and keep focusing on other people, what they told you, doubting yourself, doubting what's actually in front of you, not even leaning into it at all. And when we do that, we have a tendency to avoid certain situations. We avoid those critical conversations, the conversations that really can change the trajectory of your life. We start to avoid them, not realizing that those tough conversations or those difficult situations that come up is where your growth is going to happen and or show your maturity, because maybe you felt like you've been working on yourself. Like, you know what, I've been working on myself. I feel like I got a handle on this thing. And then somebody triggers you. This is the moment right here. They popping on. Maybe somebody actually even said stupid, stupid, stupid. But in your growth, you don't respond the way that you once did, whether it's laying hands or it's clap back with the mouth. You just let them say it. And then you politely say something to the effect of, you right, or you got it. That's your opinion. And then politely walk off. You wouldn't have responded like that back in the day, but that does show your growth. Now, the opposite is also true. If you continue to pop off and get right back with them, get into a fight, lash out with the tongue, you still got some work to do. That's okay, because you can see your weakness. And now you can work on your weakness or weaknesses. But if you're never aware of how you're showing up and how you're allowing other people to impact your life, that is when the issue is there. But you becoming aware of it, responding differently, showing up differently, this is where the self-love starts to increase. And now you have evidence that you actually can do and be better, be different. You're choosing that. The third way that not loving yourself is impacting your life is that you have a tendency to never be able to say no. Saying no is important. It is actually imperative for you to live a life that you love. A lot of people that can't say no or don't say no, they become people pleasers because they're always saying yes to other people, no matter what it is that the other person is asking, no matter what time of day the other person is asking you to do said thing. They believe that they have to show up. Now, again, this is not an every once in a while thing where you are now coming out of your comfort zone or staying up longer or whatever the thing is every once in a while. It's fine. I'm talking about when you feel like you cannot say no, even though you made plans, but their emergency came up. It's not yours, it's theirs, but you feel that you got to be there. Meanwhile, you made plans with your child or children, and now you left them hanging. Again, this is not an every once in a while thing. This is an just about every time thing. It's a difference. Your children can respect you and understand if an emergency comes up and now you got to do something different. But if it's all the time you make plans with the kids, no matter who's on the other line to ask you to do X, Y, and Z, now your plans get canceled with your babies because the other person has to come first. Meanwhile, you don't realize how your children are looking at you like, I knew we weren't going to do it anyway. I knew soon as Samantha called that you was just going to do Samantha. Meanwhile, your child or children is feeling like they're not as important as the other person, and or that you don't even love them because you're willing to choose all these other people before them. You have to be able to say no. Some people don't say no for a variety of reasons. A couple of them come to mind. The first one is FOMO, the fear of missing out. And this is missing out on any and everything. Like literally, I have a client right now. We're working through this right now. And it's a struggle for her because she is a people pleaser. She also has the fear of missing out. So she's having difficulty saying no. Anytime somebody calls, she has to say yes. Even though in our sessions, she say, Marshaun, this is what I want you to help me on. We come up with a plan for her to say no more often, take things off her schedule, create more boundaries. With me, I got it, I got it. And then the next time we're in the session, got some more stuff on her plate, ripping and running. It's a struggle. It's a struggle for her. But literally, what she's missing out on, and if this is you, what you're missing out on is that you're living somebody else's life. You're running somebody else's race because you have a fear of missing out. When you can never really live and grow in your full potential if you're always ripping and running and never reflecting on your life, on the way things are unraveling, on the people that you are attracting. The avoiding those tough conversations comes up. Creating boundaries is something that happens when you do say no. Not only are you creating boundaries from outsiders, you're also helping create boundaries with yourself, which is just as important. When you say something about going somewhere, doing something, being somewhere, how consistent are you with yourself? Are you showing up for yourself and saying no for yourself? That's huge. That's huge. You have to be able to say no and say no and not feel bad about saying no. This helps to establish boundaries. It really does. It helps you to establish boundaries. Before we go any further, let's go ahead and pay some bills, y'all. You are listening to The Brownstone. I am your host, Marshaun Olaniyan, and this is Love Restored. I'm super excited to be here. I'm super excited that you're here because we have so much stuff going on here, y'all. We have the magazine. The magazine is Brownstone Living. The magazine is in digital print as well as, is in a digital copy as well as print copy. Link is down below, somewhere in the show notes, to let you know where you can pick up your copy of Brownstone Living. The apps. Have you downloaded the apps? The app is just as important. It's on all our smart devices, Android and Apple. Download the app so you can stay a part of the block. We're on the neighborhood. We're all in the neighborhood. And we want you to be a part of us by downloading the app, becoming a part, an integral part of this neighborhood on this block, so we all can stay in abreast of what's actually going on in our community. Because here at Brownstone Worldwide, we are telling our story our way. It is very important for the people that are on this platform to be able to come here, share their story their way with their experiences. Some is theory, but mainly experiences. We have lived these things that we are saying so we can be better overall. We have relationship help. We have financial help. We have music to soothe your soul, right? We have parenting help, gardening. We have spices for your food, cooking class. Like we got a plethora of things, all by people that look like you and me. So download the app, subscribe, get your subscription to the magazine, whether it is digital or print, doesn't matter. You can do both. You can always give it as a gift. Listen, the holidays are coming up. You can give it as a gift. You can give the subscription as a gift. And the magazine is so pretty, y'all. Pick it up anyway because I write columns in the magazine. Pick it up. So now, not only are you coming to Love Restored to hear me here, you can also see me in print inside the magazine. I have a column in there. We appreciate y'all support, y'all. We appreciate y'all support because it means the world. That way we're able to keep this thing going week after week, month after month, year after year. And you can keep getting the news from people that look like me and you. The real, from educated black folk. All right, now let's get back to the impact that not loving yourself is having over your life. We are on number 4. The fourth one is that you become overly dependent on others and their opinions. What does this really look like? This can prevent you from developing a healthy sense of yourself. This is where your insecurities start to set in and you stop taking care of your needs. Don't become so overly dependent on other people and their opinion where you have to or just can't make decisions for yourself. Again, it is a respectful thing if you have a high ticket item for you to converse and consult your spouse or significant other. Yes, yes. The problem becomes when you can't make a decision yourself, where you feel like you always have to speak to somebody before you make a decision about your life. It could be as simple or as complex as, what college am I going to? Am I even going to go to school? Should I go to school for this thing? I think I'm really good in this thing, but I don't know. Let me ask. Let me ask what my friends think. It could be as simple as, I I want to get this pack of gum. I'm making it overly simple, but it could be also very complex as well. The point is this: you're depending on other people to make decisions for your life. And when you find that you have to do this more often than not, this is because you are not secure in your decision making skills, and or you have depended on other people's opinions so much that now you have lost any sense of what you should decide. That's a problem. That's a problem. You have to be able to hear your voice before you can hear others' voice. Your voice is the most important voice that you should hear. Your voice is the most important voice that you should hear. Even that critical inner voice. That critical inner voice is usually somebody else's voice. We've been hearing it so long that we take it on as our own and we start saying that thing, but it's really somebody else's voice that was implanted in you long time ago, and now you're owning it. And sometimes some people can't even, like surface level, you don't know where that voice started from, where it came from. But as you go deep, talking to coach, talking to therapists, talking to qualified people, and y'all going deeper, 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 at some point you find out how that happened, that came from, it wasn't yours. It was somebody else's. So you want to not be dependent on other people, their thoughts, them making decisions for you. Again, it has to be a pattern. It's not an every once in a while thing. I'm talking about just about all the time. You need to get somebody's approval before you can say yes to the thing that you're thinking about getting. That's where the issue comes from. Number 5 is that you lose sight of yourself. You lose sight of your self worth. You lose sight of who you are. We have to know that we are more than we even believe. This is when we begin to tolerate unacceptable behaviors and settle for less than what we need and know that we should be settling for. We want more, we expect more. You might even say it verbally. I can say it, I can pop it off, but deep down inside, I'm not doing anything about the thing, the issue, the problem, because I really don't want to deal with it. And or I don't want to deal with what the outcome is going to be and or what the other person has to actually say. So again, we keep avoiding those difficult conversations, those issues, those things that can help us grow. We avoid them time and time again. This again wrap it around, bring it all together. You not loving yourself and how this is impacting your entire life. All of this stuff is impacting your entire life when you don't love you, when you don't show up as loving you, overly dependent on other people's opinions. Which brings me to the next point number 6, which is you become prone to develop anxiety and depression. This can make you feel nervous, right? It can make you feel worried all the time. And guess what? There's usually not anything to worry about. These negative emotions are coming in and taking over your life where you show up and now you're overly irritable, maybe even have a difficulty sleeping. You experience these physical symptoms like stomach aches and headaches, right? You feel sad or maybe even hopeless. Again, these are the depression and anxiety symptoms and feelings showing up in your life because you don't love yourself, can't take up for yourself, can't stand up for yourself, overly dependent on other people's opinions. Like we have to get away from depending on other people's opinions. We have to really start depending on our own. And the other thing that I'm going to really say is a lot of times this is happening because our lives are out of alignment. Our lives are out of alignment with God. When we believe that we have to do all of these things and take all of these things on for ourselves, life period, that's when it becomes overwhelming. That's when we feel like we're always worried about something. It's because you feel that you can take it on and you can solve all these problems and issues and not going to the Father, asking for help, asking for guidance, sitting and reflecting on what it is that you can do, right? Because faith without works is dead. So, what can you do? What actions can you take? But that's after we get the answers. Pray about it. Reflect on what's actually happening and why you are feeling the way that you're feeling, where this all began. Because a lot of people are suffering from not loving themselves because they have no idea how to love themselves, what that actually looks like, and what made them stop loving themselves in the beginning. A lot of this is because life has come in and beat your butt so bad that you have yet to take back the control. You have yet to take back control over your life. And so you're still today getting beat up by life. This is how it's impacting your life. You not loving yourself. Everything that I mentioned, everything that I mentioned impacts all of your relationships. Everything. From you putting others first, doubting yourself and what you can do, you can't say no, you becoming overly dependent on other people's opinions, you losing sight of your self worth, you're not putting God first and asking for his opinions. All of those relationships are compromised. So your relationship with God is compromised, your relationship with yourself is compromised, your relationship with your spouse or significant other is compromised, your relationship with your child or children is compromised, your relationship with your parents, relationship with your siblings, relationship even with your job and or career. Every relationship is compromised when you do not and cannot love you. If you don't love yourself, you will have a hard time giving it to someone else. One of the symptoms to seeking validation and attention from other people, this can lead to you getting caught up in toxic relationships. You're even more prone to invite into your life an abusive partner. So now you become a part of an abusive situation and start to accept less than you deserve. When this is happening, when this is occurring, when you are struggling with yourself to love yourself, boundaries Boundaries are pretty much out the window. Boundaries are pretty much out the window, and you're creating a tougher life for yourself. You can't effectively communicate, and you're creating an unhealthy cycle of disappointment and frustration for yourself. These are, and this is why, not loving yourself and how it's impacting your entire life. Thank you so much for being here. These 30 minutes have actually gone faster than I realized that they were going to go today. I was really getting into it, but we got to wrap this up because it is time to go. Somebody else is coming up after me. I love you guys, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Again, download the app on all of your smart devices so you can stay abreast of what's going on the block and in the community. Don't forget about Brownstone Living, the magazine. The link down below or somewhere in the show notes where you can become a part of this subscription. Digital copy, print copy. And then also just taking part and keeping up with all of the other beautiful personalities on the platform because it makes a difference. And we are growing. And I know we're going to continue to grow. And we are asking you to help us grow by simply subscribing to the magazine, downloading the apps, and showing up for my show and others on the platform. Thank you so much again. I am Marshaun Olaniyan, and this is Brownstone Worldwide. And you are listening to Love Restored. I will see you on the next Love Restored.